Today we're starting off with harvesting our very first bucket of potatoes. There are a lot of gardening jobs I want to get done today, and I don't know if the weather is going to improve or not, but at least I will have this job done and some potatoes for dinner as well. These are the earliest of potatoes I have ever planted. They are quick growing first earlies, and I actually planted them already in February. But as the weather is just so blustery at the moment, the foliage is getting just blown around too much, so I would rather harvest them now. I have a lot of potatoes planted for this year anyway, and we've been really eagerly waiting for the very first ones to be ready. So these are going to be a real treat for the dinner. Now, if I would have left them in the buckets for longer, they would have been growing bigger tubers, but they are already a nice size and there's plenty there. Gorgeous potatoes, they have lovely flavour, and they could nearly grow as big as a main crop potato if I would let them. But as I said, there's plenty there, and these were the very first ones intentionally planted so early, so we can also have a really early harvest. Out of the 4 seed potatoes that I planted, 2 actually haven't rotted away yet and are still firm to touch. I'll just pop them into the large mixed variety grow bag, and I'll just dump all of that leftover soil from the bucket over those potatoes as well. At least that used potato compost then is all in one big bag. It's easy for me to handle it later in the season. The wind and rain have been relentless during this weekend. It was even worse actually yesterday, when there was just no break from the rain at all. Don't get me wrong, the garden definitely needs the rain, but I don't. So I stayed in the greenhouse and caught up with dividing cosmos seedlings. I planted out some Yardlong beans, and I also planted out the rest of the tomato seedlings as well. Now, I planted the Yardlong beans beside tomatoes. Tomatoes and beans overall are good companion planting, as the beans fix nitrogen in the soil, which is beneficial then for the heavy feeding tomatoes. But I have kept the Yardlong beans to the end of the greenhouse. I just hope that they don't cast too much shade on the south side, but I suppose there's only one way to find out, and I usually learn better from my own lessons, especially if they fail, if some of the experiments fail. I also repotted chilies and peppers. The larger seedlings got slightly larger pots, and smaller ones only moved up a bit in the pot size as well. The peppers do benefit in having their roots constrained a bit, but these must be the saddest looking peppers. I have kept them in the greenhouse ever since our weather turned unseasonably warm in April. They were getting a little too leggy in the house, as I don't have grow lights, but I think it was the unstable night temperatures that have affected them during month of May, as ideally the night temperatures wouldn't fall below 10 degrees Celsius, ideally really even stay around 15 degrees, but we had near frosts and around 5 degrees Celsius during May, so it might be another write-off year for the peppers and chilies. I suppose I will always have the bumper year of 2022 to remind myself though, and knowing it is doable, so I won't lose hope for the coming years, yeah, we can grow really nice peppers and chilies in Ireland. And after all the planting, I just did a little bit of succession sowing as well. Just one little tray of kale varieties and just more turnips as well. Now luckily today there are way more breaks in between the rain showers. The wind is as gusty as ever, but at least I can get outside and keep building another bed and drawing compost onto the field, because the compost won't move there itself. Somebody has to move it. And I'm glad to see that the wood chip mulch has done a fantastic job in suppressing the grass and weeds, because I can actually pull everything aside to create a space for the soil. And I'm finding most of the cardboard is still undamaged underneath, which is surprising in one way, as the cardboard itself is very thin, but I suppose it has been able to stay dry, and that's why it hasn't torn yet. So it just gives me overall more confidence adding soil now on top of it and knowing that the weeds wouldn't be popping up as easily. I'm adding soil around the plum tree as well, so I can just plant up another little tree guild. I have so many volunteer borage seedlings in the kitchen garden. I would much rather see them growing on the field, but luckily they're quite easy to relocate. They might just sulk for a day or two, but once you keep them well watered, they'll just settle quickly in the new location. I'm also adding comfrey plants, small chives, sedums I had propagated earlier in spring, and some rudbeckia seedlings as well. And of course lupins. There's I think it's altogether like 3 lupin plants, and even though they do have flower heads on them at the moment, I'm sure they'll be absolutely fine. The same as with borage, they'll just sulk for a few days and then settle and perk up the leaves again. It's just what they do because of their real soft leaf texture, really. And as I've been walking back and forth now on the field, I've also noticed the handiwork of the Sawfly larvae on the gooseberry bushes. The larvae have eaten the berry bushes bare in the matter of days. I hadn't noticed it during the week. It doesn't look great, to be honest. I'll probably just knock them off as much as possible at the moment. In Ballymaloe Garden Centre that we visited last week, they were using pyrethrin spray as organic insecticide, so I probably should get some of that for myself next year too. Sawfly has been a problem here previous years as well, but I really have not done anything about them. I've just left them be and just shake them off the plants as much as possible. They won't be able to climb up that easy anymore. The climbing French bean seedlings, variety Blauhilde, have been growing really well, and they can be planted out now as well. And I'll just make a really basic and simple frame next to the apple tree guilds for them. The seedlings are in 2 sizes, as they were sown in 2 or 3 weeks apart, I think. It was after the cobra beans failed to germinate, and I ended up resowing more of the Blauhilde, and the seed quality was just excellent with 100% germination. So I'm really delighted with the quality of the seedlings. I just have to wait until the slugs find them and we see what happens to them then. Now, unfortunately, happiness and sorrow do go hand in hand, and as I've been pottering in the garden today, I have also visited the hens a lot more often, as Rosie, one of the black girls, has been poorly for a while. She has had a weakened immune system since arriving to us 2 years ago, and just over the course of the lockdown, she really started to slow down overall. And today was her last day with us. So she was a real sweetheart, a gentle soul, and we will miss her. She'll take her place under the beech tree just next to Goldie and Coco. Now, after all of this, I'm still not done with planting, as I finally have the Ericaceous compost needed to plant the blueberries. And as blueberries need acidic soil to thrive, the Ericaceous compost is a must. I have 2 separate varieties, both are a high bush varieties, and I have both of them in the garden already. And blueberries crop better when they have 2 or 3 different varieties growing in close proximity for the pollination. And I am creating like a little corner for the blueberries here. I hope I have amended the soil enough though in the planting area, as it used to get waterlogged quite easily and blueberries don't like their feet to be wet, so let's hope they will do well in here. Now, before finishing up for the day, I did plant out all of the beetroot and chard seedlings as well. I interplanted a lot of the beetroot with the cabbages, and beetroot is a great vegetable to companion plant with, as they don't actually take up too much space and share similar growing conditions with the brassicas. Now, it's lovely to see the Detroit and Bullsbud colour so vibrant and bright. It puts nearly like an encouraging end to the weekend in the garden. Now, if you're wondering how I started this field growing space, have a look at this next video. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.